racer. And the time they're going for at the present moment is the fastest time that was put up in the free practice this morning. That was by Ayrton Senna in 1 minute 17.415 seconds. And you're looking now at J.J. Leto, the Finnish driver, who went round this morning 13th fastest. He pre-qualified yesterday, 4th fastest, and this is his first time at the Adelaide circuit, so it's a fine drive by the young Finn, and we can expect to see and hear a lot more of him in future. And off goes Philippe Alliot, the Frenchman who's always trying very, very hard, and he's normally very quick on the circuit or very quickly off the circuit. Well, he's been both so far. He's 6th fastest, and he's already spun off. You're watching Riccardo Patrese, who this morning was disappointing because he was only 15th fastest, 1 minute 19.5. This new FW13 Williams, which has only got 4 Grand Prix behind it, is very nervous, very difficult to set up for a course like this. And it's going to be interesting to see whether they've been able to improve on it in the 1.5 hours that have elapsed since the end of this morning's free practice. Patrese's 4th fastest at the moment, 1 minute 20.2, and his time this morning was 1 minute 19.5, but I think that this is a quicker lap. Got the Renault V10 engine behind him. Martini is now fastest, as you can see, quicker than Nannini. 1 minute 19.4, so that moves Patrese up in terms of his time achievement, but it doesn't improve his place. There is the fastest man so far, little Pierluigi Martini, the man of whom very few people thought very much a few years ago, because he came into Formula 1 too early, went back to Formula 3000, got some racing experience under his belt, came back last year, scored his first ever World Championship point on his return to Grand Prix racing, and has improved consistently since. Then Nannini spins it. They're all trying very hard indeed, and it's marvellous the way they recover. That's Thierry Boutsen, and the action news is that Nigel Mansell in the Ferrari, one of the 4 quickest men, is on the circuit. That's Boutsen, the winner of the Canadian Grand Prix. That car points and darts on the surface of the track, but it's tricky indeed. Pierre-Henri Raphanel behind him, trying desperately to qualify the Real, and is unlikely to do so. Boutsen goes inside. Stefano Modena, the Italian, in the Brabham, and Nigel Mansell is in the background, darts out from behind Modena's car, and let's see if he closes up on Thierry Boutsen, who is currently 13th fastest.
Looks to me as if Mansell's on a quick one as well. Boutsen had a bit of interference there from Modena. That will have spoiled his lap just enough to take the edge off it. Mansell looks as if he's gone straight out on preheated tyres. This is where timing is so important. There's a choice of when you go for your lap, or traffic, of course, being always the big problem. And we wait to see Mansell's time come up on our screens. And Nigel Mansell, not particularly quick, a 1:21 dead, knocking a little puff of smoke there from a lock brake by Mansell. But it looks like he's been building up. He's certainly hauling in Thierry Boutsen.
And will Boutsen hold him up? The answer is no. Nigel has to deviate slightly to get past the Belgian's Williams Renault, but that won't have made any difference to his time. And now, 16 minutes into the 60-minute session, Martini is still fastest in the Pirelli-shod Minardi Ford, 1:18.5. Mansell bears down on Larini and takes him. It's Nannini in the Benetton Ford in second place. Jean Alesi, the Frenchman in the Tyrrell, one of the sensations of 1989, is third. Patrese is fourth. Brundle is fifth. Larini is sixth. And Mansell, who you are looking at, is 14th off of 1 minute 21.073. His target time is 1 minute 18.534. There it is. And it looks as though he's going to be very close indeed to it, because he is coming out of Foster's hairpin now, up to the line. Not fast enough, though. Not nearly fast enough. In fact, 2 seconds off the pace.
Welcome back to Adelaide on this magic Friday afternoon. Beautiful weather, beautiful race. Martini is still the fastest on the track. The McLarens have just gone out. Let's join our commentators, Murray Walker and Jackie Stewart.
So very much depends for Ayrton Senna and Alain Prost on the results of the Australian Grand Prix. It's not going to affect the World Championship now, but it is going to affect the pride of both men. Each will be determined to beat the other to prove that he deserves to be world champion. Prost is, Senna isn't. Now here is Ayrton Senna, and he is certainly on a fast one, and there's always an air of despondency and gloom in the pit lane when Ayrton Senna is driving like this, because it seems almost inevitable that the Brazilian will take pole position. He's done it 41 times in his career already. He would make it 42 if he did so here, and as you can see, 41, 2 seconds into the lap, he's challenging Pierluigi Martini's 1 minute 18.170, which is fastest so far, 31 minutes into the 60-minute session.
This is a fast lap. Senna is going hard. You can see the car losing adhesion. You can see the back end sliding out. He doesn't want to do that very often, and he's just screwed it up. He went right over the curb. This may still be quite a fast lap, or he may cool it now to save his tyres just a wee bit. Yes, he has. He's backed off. He will disregard this lap and try and get it on as he passes the start-finishing line, or use one other lap. That's what he's doing. He's backing off. He's letting the tittle go through, and you will not have seen a quick one. He'll be talking now to his pit. He will be explaining to his engineers and to Ron Dennis on his onboard radio that he made a mistake. He ran over the curb. He's going to get his emotions together again. And it's really emotions that are the big game here in qualifying. You've got to have absolutely the correct mind management. There's no good of letting your heart rule your head. And Alain Prost never let that happen, and now he's on pole position with a remarkable 1:17.992. So Prost is our new pole position holder at the moment.
And if ever there was a red rag waved at anybody, that news, which already will have been conveyed to Ayrton Senna that you're looking at, is it. Alain Prost now fastest. Even with that slowing down lap, Ayrton Senna was fourth fastest, but Alain Prost at 1 minute 17.9 is the quickest we've had this afternoon. And as Alain Prost goes into another lap, Barry Sheen has information in the pit lane.
Yeah, Murray, I've been talking to Gordon Murray from McLaren's and also the guys at Ferrari, and the general sort of consensus opinion is that the Goodyear qualifier isn't in fact as good as the Goodyear race tyre. They're saying that the Pirelli qualifier is a very, very good tyre, but they don't think it's going to have such a good race tyre. And also that they're going slower this afternoon because the temperature down here is a hell of a lot higher than it was earlier on.
Is Ayrton Senna, incidentally, who's just snatched pole position from Alain Prost. He's on another lap, whether it's a very quick one or not, but he certainly achieved it. He's done a faster time than Alain Prost, 1 minute 17.949, and that is fastest on pole position at the moment for Ayrton Senna.
We have the tantalizing thought of the McLarens on the front row of the grid again as we join Eddie Cheever in his arrows on his way down Jones Straight. Got the Ford V8 engine behind him. Down Decaturville Terrace now. This is the fastest part of the course. He's building up to 290 kilometres an hour. Watch his right hand as he changes gear. Down into racetrack hairpin, second gear, about 50 miles an hour out of that. Up into third gear, round paddock turn. See him correcting the steering all the time. He's well down. He's only 24th on the grid, and his car was looking very, very nervous this morning. Eddie Cheever has not done well in qualifying in Grand Prix this year. Let's see how he's going. Well, that's the lap completed. He goes into the chicane again, and he has improved his time, but he's still only 19th. And off goes Griard. Well, I said this morning after Griard had gone, he's knocked his tail off, you see, knocked the rear wing off. I said this morning when he went off and deranged the rear suspension, I hoped for his sake that his irascible team boss, Guy Ligier, was not here in Adelaide, because he's been very displeased with Griard in the second half of the season and is dropping him for 1990. And Griard must be trying very hard to improve his reputation, and he is signally failing at the present moment.
This is Alain Prost looking for a fast time. It now is down to whether he gets a traffic-less ride. Now let's see what happens. And look at the bumps and look at the undulations. He's got to get a way through here. Seems to have gone off without any trouble at all. Past Martin Brundle there without being slowed up in any way. The suspension firmness of those cars is quite remarkable. To drive one of them, and I've been driving most of the leading Formula One cars this year, is quite unusual. There's no suspension at all. The visibility of the driver often disturbed by so many bumps. Difficult even to keep your feet on the pedals from time to time because of the harshness of the ride. Alain Prost coming down under heavy braking, not using the white lines incidentally, very important for a calculated driver such as him, because the coefficient of friction is different on a painted line than it is on a black top surface like tar macadam. Now only a couple of corners to go. Can he get a free lap? And it's one of the Benettons, or is it Dalio there?
No, it's Mauricio Gugelmin in the march, and he's not in the way of Alain Prost, but Alain Prost is too slow, 2/10 of a second off Ayrton Senna's fastest time, and 2/10 of a second, for that matter, off his own fastest time.
Back to Adelaide, and we've got the duel that we were wanting. Prost and Senna. Senna is still fastest. Prost just behind him. The times are getting faster. Let's now go back to the commentary position with Murray Walker and James Hunt.
15 minutes to go. 45 minutes completed. Gerhard Berger, that you see now, has got to dramatically improve on his 18th position. You can't rely on things being good tomorrow in terms of the weather. We hope it will be, but you mustn't assume if you're a driver that it is going to be. His fastest time, 1 minute 20.2, but that really doesn't matter. He's not trying to beat that. He's trying to beat 1 minute 17.949 of Ayrton Senna.
I don't think the Ferraris have been showing themselves to be too competitive at all this weekend so far. That's not a fast enough time. I don't think it was an absolute 10/10th lap he just did, but it was a hard enough lap to produce a better time than that.
As a spinner there, that is our camera looking at Alex Caffey going off in the Dallara. No harm done, except that he's overcooked it trying to straighten the car up. Rejoins the circuit, bumps over the curb. Senna over the line, followed by Mansell. Senna is fastest. He's going to try now to put pole position well and truly out of anybody's reach by shattering his 1:17.949, and do not think for one moment that he cannot do so. He has an absolutely awe-inspiring ability to pull a super fast lap out of the hat as and when he wants to, and he very often does it right in the closing stages of the practice period, like literally the last 60 seconds. Senna will go out just before the checkered flag comes out, which means it's say that he's on a lap before it goes, and then he can get in a fast lap right in the closing stages and put it out of the reach of anybody else. He's coming up to one of the marches now. It's Gugelmin. Now the non-qualifiers so far are Emanuele Pirro, the Italian in the Benetton, Olivier Griard, that we've seen in so much trouble in the Ligier, and the two Reals, quite expectedly, of Gachot and Rafanel. They, for sure, won't qualify. Senna, 1 minute 17.934, faster still, but only by 0.05 of a second, and I think he's got a quicker one left in him yet. And Prost is coming through to complete a lap. Nigel Mansell, incidentally, is in his spare car. He's obviously getting that set up. And Alain Prost is fastest. Now, 53.5 minutes, with 6.5 minutes left to go. Alain Prost has taken pole position, half a second faster than Senna. 1 minute 17.4, and Senna is out.
And that looks a bit bent, rear wing adrift. And that's Pierluigi Raphael.
Here is some more surprising information. I've been saying how difficult the Williams car is to drive, but to prove me wrong, Thierry Boutsen has gone round second fastest now, only 0.3 of a second slower than Prost, which means to say that I think temporarily Senna is down to the second row of the grid, third fastest. Indeed, Prost is fastest, Boutsen second, Senna third, Martini fourth, Nannini fifth, and in sixth place it's Patrese. So both the Williams are going extremely well. How much longer? 5 minutes longer. Senna and Prost are both out. Prost has just gone round fastest. Senna will know. Berger is ahead of Prost on the circuit. And the needle match between the two McLaren drivers continues as Prost emerges from behind Berger with Senna behind him, and going through, Prost politely moved over, saw the distinctive car of Senna behind him and gave way.
Yes, and Senna picked a bad lap to start his flyer on then. He had to pass several cars, but they were doing their best to keep out of his way. But he won't want to have used up all the grip of his tires in this particular lap. Too much traffic. And he may abort it. It doesn't look like it, though. He's still hard on it. First gear. Up towards the start finish line. And that time will just pick Thierry Boutsen, so that moves Senna up into second place.
This is the Austrian. Gerhard Berger, McLaren next year, Ferrari this year. That's it. Winner in Portugal, second in Spain, second in Italy. And he won the Australian Grand Prix in 1987. Target 1:17.4. He's only in 23rd position at the moment. Quite amazing situation for Ferrari to be as far down as both Mansell and Berger are. Is Berger about to improve? 1:17.4 is his target. And we're now into the last half minute of the session. Well, he has improved his time, but not nearly enough to lift him up towards the front of the grid. The seconds are now ticking away with Prost still in pole position. It's coming up to 10 seconds to go. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and that is the end as Glenn Dix goes out onto the track with his checkered flag, and Prost fastest, 1:17.4. Senna second fastest, 1:17.7. Then it's Thierry Boutsen in the Williams, you can see the time. Martini in the Minardi, the top Pirelli runner. Fifth is Alessandro Nannini, the winner of the Japanese Grand Prix 2 weeks ago, Benetton Ford. Then the second Williams, so both the Williams are in the top 6 places, Riccardo Patrese. Followed by Stefano Modena in his Brabham Judd and Andrea De Cesaris. And the honours are evenly spread between Goodyear and Pirelli in the top 8 with 4 each. And we still have 60 minutes of qualifying time tomorrow.
Well, the script has been written. Prost is on top, and Senna's just behind him. Tremendous result after today's first qualifying. Right now, Alan Jones talks to an elated Alain Prost.
Alain, quickest today. Must be very gratifying, huh? Yes, I'm very pleased after the championship this weekend and this week, and then quicker today, which is not very usual, but I like this track very much, and also I wanted to do my best. The car is not easy to drive, you may have seen on TV. If you didn't show me the lap time, I would have stopped and changed the setup of the car, but it was quite quick, so I tried to do my best in qualies, and I did the best time. I'm quite happy.
And I think the circuit is a little slower this morning, this afternoon this morning, huh?
It may be a little bit slower because it's hotter, but I think it may be quicker tomorrow because the track will be a bit more clean. And that's why it was very difficult today, because you start to have a good line, and then off the line it's very slippery, you get some dust in the tires. It was very difficult to push hard in these conditions.
Okay, and for Murray Walker, what do you predict for pole position time will be?
I did 17.4, so I would say 16.5, I think, almost 1 second.
That's very good. Thank you, Alain.
Thank you. Bye.
Well, there you are, Jackie. Alain says he can go another second faster, 16.4 tomorrow.
If he says it, I believe it. He's a very calculated man. He obviously sees where the time is. He sees there's more time in his car, perhaps a little in him. And remember, there's going to be more rubber on the road tomorrow, so the groove is going to be stronger. If the weather keeps right, I would have to go along with his decision on that.
Nice to see that the driving's taken over from the talking.
Yes, that's a relief. I think everyone in the grandstands and the bleachers here are pleased about that. And it's rather nice that Alain Prost done it too, because I think he's been in the shadow of this whole incident in a rather uncomfortable way. So it's rather nice that this man who just clinched the World Championship has gone as quickly, because he could have sat back, as many people thought he might, and just take it easy.
What happened to Ferrari?
They've been right out of it. Ken, I don't know what it is. It's obviously a handling problem. When I was watching during qualifying, both Berger and Mansell, the rear end was sliding out. They were using more road. They just didn't seem to have the grip. I don't think it's a power problem. I think it's a grip problem. And you can't say it's the tyres, because they're on the same tyres as McLaren. I think they've got trouble. I think if we went into their mobile home right now, I think we'd hear a lot of bitching drivers and trying to get engineers to work on mechanical grip. So I think they'll get it right. I think they'll be more competitive tomorrow, and that's what we have to look forward to.
Okay, thanks, Jackie. We'll be back with more. One of qualifying. It's Alain Prost, the professor, who's got the fastest time from his teammate, but not his friend, as Murray Walker quite rightly points out, Ayrton Senna. Next, we've got Thierry Boutsen, then Martini, Alessandro Nannini in the Benetton, and Riccardo Patrese in the Williams, filling the top 6 fastest times here at Adelaide this afternoon.